Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Thursday, the 18th of December. For me, this is the last one of these of the year, so I wish you a happy Christmas if you're celebrating it, and certainly a happy new year. Right, let's get on and look at these markets then. So, first things first, as ever, news. Let's just check on the news. So, we've got the Bank of England today meeting at midday there, and the decision expected to be a 0.25% cut. The voting, watch this very carefully because this gives us a sort of guide normally to future a little bit, but we do of course have the Bank of England governor then speaking at 12:30. But with a drop in inflation, etc., this week, it might be a bit easier for them to do the cut and actually hint at the next timing of the next cut, although they don't tend to do that too well. Anyway, then we got the ECB meeting. I really missed that earlier in the week when I was looking at things there, so expected to meet leaving rates untouched at 2.25, not 2.25, 2.125. Okay, right. We've got the US inflation data later. You see most of their inflation, but this is another one of these delayed ones. Anyway, we've got inflation later for the US market there. Right, might get a bit of action today, we'll see. So, this morning then, euro dollar, and wow, what a pig's ear it is of a market at the moment, sitting there, really not giving us too much of a clue. 4-hourly makes it look a little bit neater. I mean, it was yesterday morning, wasn't it? We were sitting there into the pivot there. It didn't go any further. Found some support and then has consolidated since. So where to today then? It's right in the midst of things, neither up nor down. Might as well throw a coin. So moving on. The pound, wouldn't really want to trade this leading into the meeting there, the Bank of England meeting. It's ugly, really ugly on the dailies here, chopping all over the place. Lower inflation helped it drop off yesterday. It recovered from that eventually. It's just really did it quite early as well. It sort of all changed at 8 o'clock there. Ooh, if I can get there on the 8 o'clock bar there, just all changed. Consolidated for ages, but brought itself back up to almost pre-news, well, beyond pre-news timing there. Where to today? Again, we're in the midst of things here. I like it. I like the idea of a breakdown from the 200 in a sense here with what we're seeing, but again, it's not a clean market unless I'm missing something. Yen, well, yesterday it was all changed there, and it's just continued to move in that manner towards the upside there. Again, nothing there for me, so this is why I'm not trading for the rest of the year probably. It's very unlikely I will look at it on a daily basis in the mornings, but I'm just finding these markets lacking of interest really. The Australian dollar, it's yesterday carried on riding to the downside there. We've just picking up a little bit here. We might have something to sell into. Oh, there we go. Into the daily pivot maybe the 34. We'll see what happens later. This might just continue back, riding its way to the downside. We'll watch this morning, post 8 o'clock really, and see if it gives me some sort of reversal into this level, and it could be a breakdown back down towards the S1. US dollar CAD. Okay, this is moving. It's consolidating but moving back to the downside by the looks of things here. Just looking off this 4-hourly, it's come to the underside of the weekly pivot there, and looking softish. We'll see what happens here. It's a bit of an in-between here. I need to wait until, again, well, really, ideally the afternoon I prefer to trade this in, only just because it moves better in the afternoons, but we'll see what happens. At this moment it's trying to turn where it is, finding support into that 50, but I prefer it on the downside, but we'll see what happens. As I say, we'll take a look at it this afternoon. The New Zealand dollar here, very much like the Aussie really, it's not doing too much different. It's recovered a little bit. The Aussie is much cleaner. I'll leave this alone. US dollar Swissy, pretty much going sideways, as you can see from dailies here. It's really a horrible market, real bitty. These are my ideal markets to lose money in, because it sort of gives you the slightest amount of hope, and then all of a sudden it gives you a little, oh, I'll take that, and then it gets into a chop like this and turns the other way, and this is just looking absolutely ugly, what we're seeing here. And I'm not in there to scalp for a few pips. I mean, you could come down to the 15-minute time frames on a lot of these markets and possibly find something, but the fact that they're not clearly in trends on the upper time frames doesn't bode so well, does it? And what's the point of losing money at the end of the year when you've made money all year? Hang on, hang in there. This is the point where you just seal the profits in. Okay. Or if you've lost, you just hold the losses, don't increase the losses. Don't go chasing. Euro yen, a very similar picture here over on the dailies here. It's a little bit more trendy on intraday basis. We've seen this 4-hourly move back up there to back into the highs again. We're getting a reaction to that double top effectively here. During the daytimes we've seen some reasonable moves here, but key reversal bar at the moment. This could be coming back off again. Just a case of being patient on this and wait see. Just looking at the pivots. Pivots are really wide on this because of the big movement we saw yesterday afternoon there. Euro pound's not worth looking at. Most of these just not really showing too much. I had been looking at the pound Aussie. I was talking about this last week. I'd been in a trade, but that let me down. Well, yesterday, crikey, it completely reversed. That was looking soft again. It'd been looking soft when I originally entered it, and then eventually it came all the way back up here, stopped me out on that one. In fact, if anything, it's looking like it could break these highs at some stage maybe and push to the upside, but it's ugly, really ugly. And the fact it's got the pound in it with the news to come out at midday is probably best avoided. Right, looking at the other markets then, the gold. Hanging around, it's not far off its all-time highs here. It's just seen as a safety opportunity, but it's really ugly, isn't it? I can imagine people trying to trade this and losing money because it's just literally every time it looks like it's breaking out here, it's pulling back in, probably enough to loosen up a few stops. It's a mess. Gold, oil. Why am I going into oil? It's not oil at all. Oil's that way. That's it. That was natural gas. I was looking at natural gas early in the week actually. I had a bit of a bounce yesterday. Bare flaggy sort of territory here, but it is sitting around that 55 area. I don't have great expectations when it's quite so low as where it is. If anything, I'm sort of looking at the potential for more bounces, but having said that, it'll probably roll over now I've said that. But for now, I would wait. If it manages to hold around its pivot here, there could be scope for it to catch a bounce this afternoon, but at the moment it's ugly. It's looking like it wants to change structurally on this short time frame. We've got the higher low coming through here, but with the standoff of Trump and Venezuela, it's not helping things either, is it? S&Ps carried on selling yesterday in the end. Lower highs, lower lows. There's concerns of the markets being overvalued. Goodness. At the moment, on the short term, if I was looking at this afternoon, and it would be this afternoon if it runs back into its daily pivot and reacts, I quite like the fact it's you're just looking for retracements back to the average effectively, and looking to see if we possibly get a sell off that. That's quite nice where the pivot is with its previous low. If it goes beforehand, well, tough, isn't it? We missed it. The FTSE, now we've got to be careful with this, with the Bank of England meeting. It's in a right old chop anyway. Anyway, moving on. DAX. So the DAX. Big picture on the DAX here. It had been looking quite sort of rosy, but it has come back into these this sort of high zone or near the high zone there, and it's certainly reacting off that sort of level at the stage with the other markets looking weak. I don't see why this will be any stronger. It has come back to the underside of its quarterly pivot there a little, and it's floating around there. I can't get bullish on this at the moment, and my favourite place really is the bearish side. Now this might run through post 8 o'clock, where we're 82 at the moment. It's not looking like it wants to run through, but could push up to where the daily pivot is, just above there. But wait and see on this. This could be a little short later. As I say, give it a little bit of time to let it sort itself out. And with the other markets all looking a bit of a sell-off, this one does tend to move quite nicely to the downside when it moves. Having said that, of course, we do have the ECB meeting, so maybe patience on this as well. There we go. Just talks myself out of another trade. That's how it seems to be lately. Right, I'm going to leave you there. I mean, it might be a bit of a scalp this morning, but I'll leave that up to you. Right, I will catch you in the new year. I wish you a fantastic time, and I'll speak to you then. Bye for now.